During the 60s, Alcatraz prison earned a reputation as the most isolated and remote prison on the planet. The location of the island made it impossible to ever escape. In all of history, 36 inmates tried to escape, but none of them survived or succeeded. However, this was not the case in June 1962. 3 inmates tried to get out of the rock by jumping into the infamously cold waters of the San Francisco Bay. They were never seen again, and no one knew what happened until the police got a mysterious letter in January 2018. Local officials believe that they drowned, but there are clues that suggest they actually survived and got away. In 2018, one specific letter led the FBI to reopen this investigation. Frank Lee Morris has earned a reputation for his great mind. At the age of 11, he became an orphan and started to move from one foster home to the next. He learned independence and self-reliance during those years. However, he had a penchant for getting into trouble. When he was 13, he got convicted of a crime for the first time. Despite everything, no one could have predicted that he would be the mind behind the greatest escape attempt from Alcatraz prison. As he grew up, Frank Lee Morris continued to take part in criminal activities. He spent some time in prisons all over the country, even ending up in the Alcatraz of the South in Louisiana. He had been serving a decade for bank robbery when he escaped from the state penitentiary. Frank Lee Morris knew that it is impossible to conduct a prison break on his own. He had to find a team to help him with this endeavor. When he got to the Rock, he teamed up with Alan West and John and Clarence Anglin. They were incarcerated at the Atlanta Penitentiary. The brothers tried to escape numerous times. In the end, the people in charge thought they were better off in a maximum security prison like Alcatraz. They befriended Frank Lee Morris and Alan West during their time together. The 4 of them had lots of experience in escaping or trying to escape in the past. They'd pooled their resources and began to draw up a plan to do the unthinkable. They were going to escape from Alcatraz. The plan they drew up was not complicated, but could they actually pull it off? For one thing, they needed perfect coordination if they wanted to make this work. It was not the first time that inmates tried to escape. In fact, more than 30 people tried to escape from the Rock before them. None of them succeeded. Alcatraz inmates made furniture, shoes, and clothes for the U.S. military back then. The team was made up of non-violent offenders, which is considered a rarity in Alcatraz. This gave them the edge of being less suspicious than the others. They started to set the plan into motion little by little. It was hard, but they had a brilliant plan. They did not only plan to escape this fortress, but wanted to leave dummies in their place. It was not enough to escape Alcatraz because they needed to find a way to leave the island. Back then, prison guards were instructed to shoot on sight. As you can see, the men knew what they were up against. The members of the team were assigned different tasks. However, they each needed to look for a way to get out of their cells when it was time for them to escape. The Anglin brothers were placed in charge of making the fake heads they would leave in their beds. They were made roughly from toilet paper, soap wax, and real human hair from the barber shop in the prison. The team needed to work together to craft tools they can use to dig out of the cells and unscrew the bolts on the vents. They made wrenches and picks from items like cafeteria spoons and workshop wood. Every single day, they worked from 5:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. They chipped away at their cells to make holes that they could fit through. They also removed the vents in the prison cells and made the holes bigger. They got lucky because the prison was in such bad shape during their time there. The walls were weak and crumbling. The salt water running through the pipes had been deteriorating over time and leaking into the walls. The salt eventually wore down the cement, but how did they manage to do this without making anyone notice? Apparently, the inmates used prison reform to their benefit. In the 60s, they let inmates have an hour of music every day. It was hard to hear anything over the disharmony that happened during that time. Morris played an accordion loudly to cover up the racket, made by chipping the cement and banging at the walls. They eventually learned that there was an unguarded utility corridor at the back of the cells. Morris and the Anglin brothers managed to break down the walls of their prison cells by May 1962. The holes were just big enough for them to crawl through. They created a raft and life vests by gluing and stitching raincoats together. They used over 50 raincoats for these things. They were important if they wanted a chance of surviving the cold waters of the San Francisco Bay. The gang was ready, so the only thing they needed to do was wait for Allen West to finish his own hole. They only had to wait for the right moment to make their escape. In June 1962, they received the signal to carry out the plan, but it did not go as planned. West finished carving out his hole on the 11th of June in 1962. He informed the 3 other team members, but none of them expected what happened next. They anxiously waited for the lights to go out before they could start. Could they really escape from the rock? The Anglin brothers and Morris managed to go out of the cells easily. However, Allen West could not get out. He told the others that he probably miscalculated the size of his hole. Frank Lee Morris helped him chip it off some more from the other side of the hole. However, there was nothing to be done about it. At around 9:30 p.m., they decided that the only thing to do was to leave him behind. The other 3 started to make their way to the roof. Using the plumbing pipes in the corridor, they climbed 30 feet to reach the shaft. The climb to the roof came fairly easily for the 3 men. After this, it was time to cross more than 100 feet to start the descent. They climbed down 50 feet along the side of the building to get to the ground. They made their way right beside the showers and snuck past the guards on duty. Clarence Anglin, John Anglin, and Frank Lee Morris were never seen again after that day. They went out to the sea on their makeshift raft at around 11:30 p.m. The prison authorities only noticed that they were missing the following morning. All the inmates woke up to the sound of blaring sirens. They were confused because they did not think anyone would try to escape. Allen West did not give up, apparently. They already left him behind, but he kept chipping at the hole to squeeze through. He succeeded. He was thrilled to leave the cell and follow the others. After he left the cell, he made his way to the rooftop. However, the 3 men were nowhere in sight. He did not have a raft on him nor anyone to help him. He had 2 choices: swim or return to his cell. He returned to his senses and made the decision to just return to his cell. He knew that they would discover the escape in the morning. The authorities searched every inch of the prison after they raised the alarm the following morning. West did not have a choice but to fully cooperate with them. He told them what he knew, but we do not know if he actually spilled everything. He told them that the plan was to go to Angel Island, steal a car, get some clothes, and split up. They had a problem with this confession. There were no cars reported missing or stolen in Angel Island as far as 12 days later. This means that West lied to them, or they landed elsewhere and changed their plans. They searched the bay thoroughly but did not recover any bodies. However, they did find personal items floating in the water the next day. The FBI finally closed the investigation 17 years later. On the 31st of December in 1997, they arrived at the conclusion that the 3 men met their doom in the San Francisco Bay. However, the U.S. Marshals did not do that. In 2009, the deputy U.S. Marshal told NPR, "There's an active warrant, and the Marshal Service doesn't give up looking for people." The U.S. Marshals turned it over to the FBI, who ran tests on this piece of paper. They dusted for fingerprints, looked for DNA traces, and performed handwriting analysis. What did they think? KPIX, the San Francisco CBS affiliate, published a letter and discussed the investigation. It said that the FBI results were inconclusive. A security expert clarified what the FBI meant by that. It means yes, and it means no, so this leaves everything in limbo. To this day, there is no definitive answer about whether John Anglin, Clarence Anglin, and Frank Lee Miller made it out of there alive. Law enforcement never revealed more details about the letter, so it remains a mystery if they look for the writer. If the escapees are still alive, John Anglin would be 86 years old, Clarence Anglin 87 years old, and Frank Morris 90 years old. Even though they would be old men now, keep in mind that they are wanted fugitives who will be held accountable until they reach 99.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button, and if you have something to say, please leave a comment.